Welcome back, everyone, to another Momentum Fit podcast. Today I have Joe Annotti back with me. Welcome, Joe.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it, Ken.
So, second time on the podcast for you.
Return. Hopefully this isn't a third time's the charm, sophomore slump kind of thing.
Yeah. No, we're going to knock it out of the park. So, you recently started a clothing brand.
I did.
Go ahead and tell us just a little bit about, not too much, because I want to ask you questions, but just give us like a quick overview.
Yeah, so it's a premium golf and athletic apparel brand called Skull Bogeys. We're 6 months in now, running everything out of the house, so very excited to kind of continue the growth and find new partners and see what running an apparel brand is all about.
Okay, first off, when did you get into golf itself?
I started playing when I was a kid. I was initially very much told to stay away from it. I was a baseball player growing up and, did traveling leagues and, played in high school and got recruited into college to do all that. And few things are worse for a baseball swing than a golf swing. It's just totally different mechanics. You put your hands in the wrong place. And, that's why pitchers are great golfers and the rest of baseball players, don't play golf. So I didn't really get into it more until after I stopped playing baseball into college and into my 20s is when I started, really playing more and more.
Okay, good deal. And when did you have the idea that you wanted to maybe start a clothing brand?
Running an apparel company was never like a life's goal. I've been in the consulting world for the past 20 years and have run a consulting practice. And so that was in the transportation space. And so I'm from an engineering background. I have a geology degree. I'm kind of math and sciences leaning. That's kind of always been my world. So apparel and fashion is not like a natural transition point. But
you know a lot about rocks, though.
Yeah, good at rocks. I got that figured out. If I do play like desert courses, I like the geology and the strata of the golf courses as you go through it, which is fun. But the apparel stuff has never been a thing. Like that's never been my world. But 2 years ago, I got sober after struggling with alcoholism for a long time, and obviously there's a lot of rebuilding that goes along with that and with family and relationship stuff. But outside of that, there were two things that I really wrecked most as part of my addiction. And one was music and the other was golf. And my relationship with those two things was completely transformed. So when I came out sober, it was, wow, I don't know what it is to be a musician anymore. And I can't sit down behind my drum set without thinking about a cocktail. Or when I go out on the golf course, it's heavily triggering that there's this, person driving around a cart filled with booze.
Right.
And I had to rebuild the relationship with it.
Okay.
And to do that, for golf, I wanted to feel like I was protected. I wanted to invest in a sense of security that I was going out there knowing that I was going to be safe. I had some means of staying on the straight and narrow and doing good about it. And I had this concept of like putting on armor. And I was like, that resonates with me. That makes me feel good. And I started looking at brands. It was like, well, who, Stephen Malbon is one of the big fashion brands right now in the golf space. And he's open about his own addiction issues. And I was like, wow, that's great. Like Malbon's kind of telling my story. I can't afford to wear Malbon clothes all the time.
Most of us can't.
Yeah, they're at a price point that makes it relatively prohibitive to kind of don the clothes a lot. So I was like, well, I'll just do it myself. Being stubborn as a mule and kind of hard-headed and not listening to normal trajectories of business, I was like, well, I'll start my own apparel brand, and that led to Skull and Bogeys. My kids and I love pirates and skull and bones and that kind of things, and the natural pun of bogeys and golf and skull and bones, skull and bogeys, and that was kind of the genesis of the brand. And so we started with that recovery narrative of, like hit a bad shot, come back, have an addiction, come back. And so that was really the kind of provenance for how it all started.
Okay. So the name came pretty organically.
Yeah.
Pretty quickly. Totally. And then, so what were like the first steps? Like, so you had this idea, how do you take it to fruition?
Well, the first was to pretend that I had any creative thought in my head and was like, I'll just draw up a cute little brand image and a logo. And the first logos I created were just really juvenile.
Were you drawing them? Were you using some type of like computer program?
No, I was just drawing them. Okay. It was like Microsoft Paint days.
Okay.
Yeah,
nice.
It was very rudimentary compared to what real talented people can do. And so we started with these very simple concepts, and I still have the first prototypes of like these goofy shirts, and it was like, it was creative and fun. And the original concept was, what if you put golf courses at famous pirate locations? And so Port Royal, Jamaica, and the first mock-up was like Port Royal Country Club, and so it was like a bunch of pirates in this like pirate cove playing golf, and it was kind of those design aesthetics. And it was terrible. I mean, it just didn't go anywhere. It didn't resonate. Nobody picked it up. It just didn't have the message. And then we started thinking more about what it actually means to be a golf brand and to tell the story of resilience. And we set the business parameters on early. Having run a business for the past 20 years, I'm much more comfortable in that world than the retail and fashion and apparel side. And so I knew that I wanted to build a sustainable business model. And so we set out from the very beginning, 25% of our net profits are donated to addiction recovery, period. That's just the baseline. It's not like a special deal. It's not like a marketing shtick. It's not, on Tuesdays after 3 p.m. It's not this kind of nuanced thing. It's just front and center, 25% of our net profits. And if we started with that, we knew we could end with that. If we started with, let's try to collect as much cash as we can, it would be much more difficult down the road as we're getting successful to say, okay, now we're going to start diverting some of that cash. It's like, divert money from your paycheck without it being yours yet. It's much easier to save that way. So the same concept holds true for us there. And so from a financial sustainability model, it's really important for us to make that donation first and then collect.
Okay, and is it just you in the business? Do you have partners?
My wife and I are running the show, and then we have a couple affiliates who help us as either like brand ambassadors or as sponsored athletes. So right now we have a brand ambassador, John Young, who's based up in Providence in Rhode Island. He's a scratch golfer, total stud. But he's on an addiction recovery journey as well. He's 5 years sober. He's got a big online presence. He's an online golf coach and a PGA coach. And so is working through that world right now. But is a very outspoken supporter of the sobriety community.
Oh, awesome.
And then we have another guy, Josh Ray, who's based down here in Florida, who plays on the Veterans Golf Association Tour, which is a phenomenal effort. That it's a veterans-led program that supports retired service members and who are golfers, and they have all these great events. There's one in Queens Harbor this weekend on Sunday, and he's a 9-time winner on the Veterans Golf Association Tour. He's a really genuinely great guy, but he's got his own recovery story. And so while my recovery story is addiction and sobriety focused, our brand is focused on that broader recovery narrative. So for Josh, it's a veteran's recovery. He had a traumatic injury that was sustained during his active service, and now he's working on his recovery and PTSD from that. Our third athlete is a woman named Rebecca Hall, who's an active duty naval aviator. She's a great athlete. She played Oregon State golf as a women's player, but her recovery narrative is from a helicopter crash. And so from her work from recovering from that and telling the story, she's an active naval duty aviator, mother of 3, great golfer. She's got all this incredible storytelling. So for us, our focus on partnership with those types of folks is to tell the recovery story. Like I said, mine's addiction, others are PTSD, others are, whatever their MS. We have another athlete who has MS.
Wow.
So it's really focused on a broader recovery narrative.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what's your social media presence like?
Yeah, so we've been exploring a lot of that, and I'm not a Luddite by any means, but I'm not like a tech first person. So Instagram is our biggest presence at Skull and Bogeys, SKULLAND BOGEYS. That's our kind of most active platform and where we do most engaging. We are Captain Hook and Slice on Facebook. Very clever name. Yeah. We're on TikTok as well. Admittedly, that is, something I'm getting a lot of help on from folks younger who in my marketing agency.
For sure.
Yeah. It's not it's like, man, I could do something fun on TikTok. And then we've got a burgeoning YouTube presence, but Instagram is the big one right now.
What's the YouTube look like?
Right now, it's just partnership stuff. So we actually filmed our first YouTube content yesterday.
Awesome.
Which was exciting and weird to be on, that side of the camera. It's a little humbling. But YouTube is going to be a lot of partnered content. So focusing on filming our Veterans Golf Association team, kind of getting a good look at what those tournaments look like, the day-to-day activities. A lot with John Young and looking at how what a PGA coaching kind of day-to-day schedule looks like. We have a community of sober caddies at really high-profile courses. Aaron Hills and is one of them, and so we're going to look at how the caddy life works and kind of what that day-to-day is.
It's like a day in the life type.
Yeah,
video.
exactly.
Okay, awesome.
And then the one I'm really excited about, we're just launched this weekend, was a group called TD on the Tee, and they go around to colleges and interview college golf players and understand what their experiences are on the college circuit, how to create their social media presence, how to grow their brands. And so it's helping JUCO and college players get and improve their kind of business presence.
Right. Yeah.
Which I'm really excited about that one. A lot has been made about the NIL stuff and like football and baseball, and those athletes getting paid millions of dollars as like 18-year-old kids. But these other sports, particularly the female sports, like swimmers and golfers and volleyball players, we've got, Hayden has done a really nice job with UNF's volleyball team, and I'm kind of learning more about her. Those sports have been overlooked in the NIL stuff because they're not monetized.
Right.
They're not getting paid.
Yeah.
But they're athletes just the same, and some total studs.
Yeah.
And so I'm really excited in the golf arena, particularly with the female golf arena, is supporting those athletes and making their journey into the LPGA and some of the
absolutely give them more exposure. And stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm sure everyone probably, we all toy around with the idea of, I'd love to start like a clothing thing or whatever. But you got the logo, like, okay, now where do I find someone to manufacture these things? Like,
sure.
How do I decide like what kind of fabrics I want or the fit? Like what goes into that?
That has been the hardest part. The manufacturing partnership struggle has been, the real deal. Because a lot of people is like, okay, well, it's made in China, so I'll just talk to a Chinese company and they'll figure it out. And crazily enough, if you go on Instagram and you kind of get your algorithm working that way, people come out of the woodwork.
It kind of comes to you.
Yeah. And really like, hey, it's a lot out of China and a lot out of Pakistan initially.
Okay.
Those are the big manufacturing bases, and you could come in and say like, okay, well, I'm gonna build this polo, and I can build a polo for $8 a polo and go sell it for 60. And it's like, oh, look at all that profit. That's great, but you're gonna pay for the quality, and $8 worth of polo is not particularly high quality. And then you got to start thinking about seasonality, and then retail is a game of arbitrage. So I have to buy a thing for one price, sell it for another, and then my world exists in that delta, that in-between space.
Okay.
And so that's what I pay for marketing, and that's what I pay for, production and distribution and taxes. And, at some point I'm going to get paid, not for a couple of years likely, but at some point I got to pay me. And so I exist in that middle space. And that has been the most challenging. So we've actually changed vendors. I'm on my 5th production factory now, as we've bounced around in 6 months because of quality issues or because of lack of design issues. I built a polo that I loved the fabric, I loved the style, and they shipped me the test product, and it was like sheer. I was like, this is not gonna work. Yeah. This is terrifying. Like you can't go out in public like this.
Okay.
So we shipped that one right back and ended that and switched contracts. Okay. So we don't have it figured out yet. I've got one that I really like now, and we'll be launching our first kind of style fit. So it'll be a sun shirt, a hoodie, like a lightweight hoodie, a polo, and a hat, and all kind of themed stylistically. We'll be launching next month, which I'm super excited about. But putting all those pieces together is a challenge. But that has been the most difficult part.
Yeah.
And the capital and courage needed to buy a 500, 1,000 units of a thing.
Right.
And
What's your
like,
minimum? Is that the minimum?
The minimum order quantity for a lot of these guys is like 200 or 300 units.
Okay.
But that's 200 or 300 units of one color and of one style.
Okay.
If I'm coming out with 4 or 5 different products in my theme, I'm putting over 1,000 units out there.
Yeah.
And I got to buy that first and then hope to God that it sells, right? Because nobody else is going to pick up the tab. I'm already in.
Yeah.
And so that's where that courage comes in, right?
Gotcha.
Capital is easy enough to come across. You can figure that out, but you got to have some chutzpah to kind of get out there and say, okay, I'm going to buy all these units, and then I'm going to put the marketing behind it and sell these things. And that has taken a lot more gumption than I was expecting to have to bring to the table.
Yeah. What are you selling through?
So right now the main platform is e-commerce.
Okay.
So it's our website through skullbogeys.com.
Okay.
Is the main platform. We have each of our branded athletes has their own partnership codes. So as you're following them, they'll have discount codes that they can use. And then we have thematic events. So like every Memorial Day, Labor Day, and July 4th, all of the profits from sales on those days go to a veterans home in New Orleans called the Bastion House. And so, they'll have like pop-up vendors associated with that. So we'll have a booth in their, retail store.
Okay.
We are working with pro shops now to start putting our products into more like commercial and wholesale platforms.
Okay. Are you looking local or outside of
Kind of anything.
Okay.
Yeah. Honestly, it's the pro shops that we're talking to right now are in Boulder, Colorado, and La Crosse, Wisconsin, and then one here.
Okay.
So just kind of how relationships are building out. And then one in Boston, which is super cool. So that's something that we've been trying to figure out, because that's a real visceral, tangible show of like, hey, we're a real brand. This is a pro shop.
Yeah.
So that's really exciting for us.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, are there any like big clothing brands that are brick and mortar, or is everything kind of online now?
One of the brands that we really like to watch is Johnny O. Johnny O has done a really nice job of threading the needle of e-commerce and brick and mortar, but also partnering with some really impressive athletes. Jake Knapp is their newest athlete.
Oh, okay.
So he's a stud. He's just kinetically how he moves, he has so much swing speed.
Did you know that he's not even a fan of his own swing?
Oh, really?
And it's like just butter.
Oh, dude. I'd pay good money for that swing.
A lot of people would.
I'd pay good money for that swing. We like Malvin a lot, but Malvin exists, largely in the e-commerce setting. They'll do they call them activations, where they have at the Masters they had the Malvin Home, which was this. It was a house near Augusta, and they had all these events throughout the entire week. Offsite.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And then you can find stuff like that. We'll do pop-ups of there's a monthly event in Jack's Beach, 904 pop-up. It's kind of a farmer's market sort of retail kind of thing. We'll be there. So we have, you can buy us in person there. But yeah, largely e-commerce first right now.
Oh, nice. How do you navigate trademark issues, the branding, whatever logos you want to come up with? How does that work?
Well, we have an attorney because we got ourselves into trouble actually pretty quick, and actually the hat you're wearing, is the source of the
player pirate.
Yeah, the player pirate. So the golden pirate got us into some trouble because it, in the eyes of the PGA Tour, looks too close to their trademark on the Players logo. So if you look at the Players Championship logo, it's a golden golfer, and we have a golden pirate. So we very pleasantly received a cease and desist letter, stop selling that product immediately, and so you did not buy that product from us as PGA Tour legal staff. That was a gift, and it was something that we made and recognized, and so.
How did they find out about it?
Our online presence.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, they picked up on it.
Yeah.
Okay, so they probably have a team out there looking for this stuff?
Ostensibly, it's a very protected brand, as it should. The PGA brand, not mine. Yep. Their brand is very protective, and as it should be, and so they need to be aware of intrusions or encroachments that somebody is using their efforts, their team's efforts over the years to capitalize on, and so we can't profit from their brand. Right? That's the whole premise. And so we need to be really careful of that. For our own trademarks and our own brands and typography and voice, we are going through the trademark and copyright process right now. And it's a lot. I mean, I could not have done that on my own. That's not something that I have, an education on. So we're working with a patent attorney to navigate that process and just go from there.
Okay. Because, I mean, you see, like, every year during the Masters, you see everyone coming out with their Masters themed stuff and the logos and this and that. And it's all very close to stuff you would get at.
Well, so that green is trademarked.
Okay.
Masters green Augusta green is a trademark thing. Now, you can't patent an azalea. It's a plant. Like, it's open. So, we're going to have we have a Florida swing design that has an azalea as part of it. But we're not going to run afoul of any legal issues there because it's a plant. It's public domain. But
like if you put like a pimento cheese sandwich on a hat, like some people do.
So, and you can get okay, but you're starting to get a little dodgy there. And then you get a little closer to that if you put a yellow pin flag on a hole, right?
Which I have seen.
Which gets a little close too. Now, there are people that are going through the paces of selling that kind of stuff. I can't speak to the legality of it or what they're going through it. They may be choosing to just kind of say, heck with it, we're going to deal with the legality issues because, it's a red pin and a yellow flag. Come on, that can't be yours.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of brands out there that get awfully close. It is not our intention to skirt those gray areas. We want to be our own thing. But people do it, and it's out there.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah.
And so everyone kind of has like their favorite brand, like golf polo. Like all of us golfers, like, oh, I like to wear this, I like to wear that. Like, what kind of like performance style or like feel are you like looking for with your products?
Yeah, so the fabrics that we're launching with for our first kind of big themed launch it's called Reprieve, and it's a recycled bamboo charcoal. Super lightweight. It's naturally anti-odor. Moisture wicking, really, really cool. It's a great summer. For us in Florida, it's great because it's so humid and it's so hot that you got to get rid of moisture as fast as you can, but retain that cool. You got to get a bit of breathe. So I'm really excited about that one, and the feel is it has that like really high performance synthetic feel, like kind of like a really, really light jersey. But it's a naturally recycled fabric, right? Bamboo charcoal is you grow it sustainably. It's grows like a weed, and you farm it sustainably. We're really excited about that fabric.
Okay.
Design ethos. I loved the like early 2000s Tiger mock necks, like those sort of performance tees almost, but it had enough of a collar that you could get away with it on a golf course. And then we like blade collars. I really like the blade collar look. Yeah, I have not been able to get anybody to intelligently explain what the point of extra fabric is on the collar, why it needs to fold over. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
I don't like the feel of it. It's an extra weight that I'm not putting a tie underneath it, so like I don't need to fold over anything.
Yeah, you just gotta flip the collar, to block out the sun.
Right. and then you get the pop collar look, and then you can wear 3 of them at a time, like kids did in my high school, and the different pastel. I can't justify it. Yeah. But I like the blade collar look because it's still blocking sun. It does that thing, but without the extra weight, and it's just a super clean aesthetic and design. Yeah. It allows us to still get we have offset colors on our collars and hems. I just like the coloration of that. And so it still allows us to aesthetically make that sort of differentiated look. Yep. But also still you can wear it on a golf course, right? You can still get by the guy in the first tee is like you're dressed appropriately.
Right.
So, which is important, right? We can't design something. A lot of people are pushing it a little bit with the nicer t-shirts, and it's like a lot of clubs are still not allowing that out there.
For sure, yeah.
You can get away with it with some of the nicer long sleeve hoodies. You can make that case, but we're still kind of in that like streetwear versus golf wear kind of back and forth. So we offer both, but we do want to provide a solution for most courses.
Yeah. And are you trying to stay within a certain price point, or is that a lot of dependent on your costs going in and everything that's coming out?
Yeah, there's a lot of psychology in that question. So for us, our brand, our customer is going to exist in a price point for a polo in the $70 to $80 range of a polo, and
which is what most golf polos used to cost back in the day.
Yeah, and it's we're not going to be able. I just can't stand behind a cost of a product that's north of $100 for a polo. Now those brands exist, and that's great. Mm-hmm. It's just not where we want to be. We want to be achievably premium is kind of how the fit's going to work for us.
Okay.
We will be launching some cashmere products this fall and winter, which I'm really excited about. That will exist in the $110, $120 range, but it's cashmere, right? It's a really, really high-end product. And so we'll make the case. I think one of the things that we've seen is how much marketing plays in the cost of a product versus how much that product actually costs.
Right.
And that's a huge difference. And so one of the things that we look on is a lot of people, you can go out and buy novelty. You can go buy a great marketing tagline or a marketing shtick, and you can go buy one of those things. Mm-hmm. We want to create the paradigm where you are investing in security. We don't want to be a novelty buy. We want to be an investment, and we want to create these customers that are lifelong partners of our brand because they believe in what it represents, and they know that when they're putting on that piece of armor, that not only do they feel protected, but they know that a huge chunk of that is now then going out to the community and supporting a recovery community effort.
Right.
And that's really important. So we don't want to sell a novelty item with a cool skull logo, right. Awesome. Yes, that exists.
You're about the mission.
Right. We want to exist as a longer term partner.
For sure. And obviously everything is done through social media these days.
Very much so.
Is there any thing outside of social media that's important that you weren't aware of?
We're participating with an online sober community right now called Soba Golf, SOBA, and they've done a really nice job of bringing totally different walks of life together in this kind of central ethos of we believe we can support each other, be better. Mm-hmm. And so we're doing a sober retreat. We just had one last weekend, and a stream song actually, which was
awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive. Cool. I would have loved to have played, but our brand was there. Okay. We were one of the apparel sponsors. And then there's another one coming up in September in Ireland, so we'll be there for that one. We're doing a lot of work with charitable golf foundations. There's a Firefighter Golf Foundation, which helps first responders who've suffered PTSD on the job find recovery via golf. And so we're an apparel sponsor for that group, First Responder Golf and Firefighter Golf Foundation, which is really cool. There's another group called Fretboards and Fairways, which is a music it's a nonprofit that supports music education and recovery efforts through these rock stars get together and play golf. It's awesome. So we're supporting things like that. So those types of events, we're a partner with Drug Free Duval here locally in the Alive Foundation. We've got a golf tournament for them next month. So we like to exist in the real world. I mean, there's way less eyeballs, and that's the weird thing is that dynamic between, I can pay X thousands of dollars for a marketing program on social media, and I can get tens and hundreds of thousands of eyeballs on my product. But then if I invest all this time and effort to go to a golf fundraiser and donate some apparel and have a booth, there's 70 people there.
Yeah.
And it's this weird dichotomy because those 70 people, I'm creating personal, real relationships with.
Oh, you get the buy-in.
Oh yeah. And it's Absolutely. A very different experience. Yeah. And so we like to have our feet in both worlds. We have to. But they're just very different dynamics.
Okay, very cool. And so you said about 6 months this has been going on.
Yeah, started in September.
What are you excited about in the next, say, 6 months or year?
We just received this past weekend to be a approved apparel provider for Tulane University, which is where I went to school.
Awesome.
And the University of North Florida, right down the street here. So being able to work with those brands, because those are brands, right? Those are big
For
brands,
sure, yeah.
right? And they've got their trademarks and how they talk and want their brand to be known.
Tulane is the Green Wave?
Green Wave.
Okay, so
yeah.
there you go.
Yeah. So it's, good for us, right? It's
Yeah.
I'm really excited because Pirates Alley in New Orleans is kind of a big landmark. And so we're going to have fun with that sort of Pirates Alley, Tulane being in New Orleans college. And
Awesome.
so I'm excited about that. And then UNF being local here, they've got a great golf program, and their campus is just down the street. So I'm super excited to build on that. And there's a lot of stories to be told and partnerships to be built along those lines. Tulane in particular has a sober house on campus, which is awesome. I wish something like that would have existed when I went there, but it's now available, and we're sponsoring it and supporting it, and that's an incredible opportunity. So I think building relationships like that is going to be really what I'm most excited for in the next 6 months.
Okay, very cool, awesome. Well, Joe, this has been incredible, man.
Thanks, man.
I love the mission. I've been wearing the stuff.
Absolutely, appreciate it.
It's very cool. We're excited for you, and we're excited to see where this goes. It's
Thanks.
we're kind of on this journey with you,
very much
a little
so.
bit, and
Yeah.
so that's super cool to see.
Well, I can't thank Momentum enough, because it's one of the things it's very easy to get siloed, and it's very easy to say, okay, this is my sobriety silo, this is my work silo, and Momentum has created this opportunity where I'm bridging these gaps because I'm healthier.
Mm-hmm.
I just got my blood test and all this annual physicals, those numbers have looked as good as they've ever looked since I was 15 years old.
Okay, incredible.
And so that's an incredible thing, but that allows me to do all these other things.
Right.
And that's, these relationships, like I was mentioning Hayden with UNF and with you, you, me, Blaine, and Q are playing golf on Friday. Marie, we're sponsoring an event later this year. All of these things interact, not just because of the gym, but because it's the gym and something else.
Right.
And that means a lot to me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's incredible. And maybe we'll get you back here in 6 months, and then we'll have a recap of what you've gone through with the business and where you're at. Now you're sponsoring a golf tournament. Who knows?
Talk about the first launch. We'll talk about what the winter looks like.
Yeah.
We're going to do a lot of plaid.
Okay,
that's the look for this fall. So we're excited about it.
Awesome, very cool. Well, thanks for coming on, Joe.
Appreciate it.
I really appreciate this, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. All right, we'll check you in the next one.